Good evening. Good evening. I'm not sure how many of you all are Christian folks or Bible believers, but I have to tell you, I had to use that devil get back moment because, as usual, the devil is busy, always busy. So, anyway, I'm here. We are here, and we are going to have a really exciting and hopefully thought provoking conversation. Good evening. How are you all? Last week I highlighted some essentials around moving abroad, and this week I wanted to talk a little bit about mental health and wellness because I feel like for aspiring expats and expats alike, I have two wonderful guests with me, Marissa Price and Torie Prophet, and they will share their perspective and insights on this topic. This is something that I have been thinking about as I am pivoting and getting ready to move to Thailand. I don't know how many days out I am. I'm leaving August 5th, so I don't know, maybe less than 20 days away. And I am really wondering about how I will be dealing with all of these emotions that are starting to surface. Before I get into this conversation, let me introduce you to the channel. If you are new here, I'm Dr. Davia. Welcome to Not All the Things. This is a space for success driven, mature women of color where we talk about work life balance, wellness, and wine. And I have to come with my wine. I am having a rosé. As you can see, it's hot in here, but it's really nice in this glass. It's a 2021 French rosé. It's pretty. I don't know if you all can see. It's pretty yummy. It was a. It's a sustainable wine, which basically means it's organic. And I mean, I'd imagine all wine should be organic. Pretty much. Um, but if you don't have wine, get some water, have something, be in fellowship with us. I am going to bring both Marissa and Tori in. I will just say that if you would think about it, would love for you to subscribe to the channel. Consider subscribing. It tells the algorithm to share this content and with other folks like yourself who are similar to you. And I do hope that you enjoy. I am super excited to have folks here with me. So I'm going to bring them both in. Hello, ladies.
Hello, hello.
Thank you for being
Hello.
patient with my tech issues. It's always
Of
something.
course.
Oh my goodness. Well, I would love for you all to each of you take a moment to introduce yourselves and just let folks know who you are. I'm sure anybody who's in this chat probably knows who you are, but I would love for you to just share from your perspective.
Yeah. So I am Marissa Price. I am a healing practitioner helping sensitive, introverted, and/or empathic Black women heal from things like workplace trauma, narcissistic abuse,
Mm.
and really reclaim our voices and our power after those situations. I'm also a digital business educator. So I have a community called Black Women Freelancers. As freelancing was really my pathway out of a toxic, traumatic work environment into my journey of living abroad. And so just sharing knowledge, resources about how to do things like find clients. We have weekly accountability sessions within my community, just trying to share how I did it
Mm.
after almost 3 years, 2.5 years in this journey as a freelancer,
Mm.
transitioning from a corporate setting. So, yes, happy to be here.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you so much. And Tori.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I am Torie Prophet. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in private practice. My practice is called Design to Heal. And I specialize in my therapy practice in pregnant and postpartum women. So, after my
Mm.
own journey through birth trauma,
Mm.
I have come to a space where I, provide some help and healing for those who have trauma from, difficult birth experiences, postpartum anxiety, and depression.
Mm. Mm.
And I also lead a community of women over 40 who never quite fit in
Mm.
and are tired of the hustle and
Mm.
really want to redefine success on their own terms. And so, in that community, I offer different programs, a fun free book club that's meeting in August, a soft landing circle that I'm getting together for expats who want to fill in the gaps of their mental health while they're abroad. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here tonight.
Thank you for that. And I'm super happy to have both of you here. I, in all transparency, am definitely going to be involved in Tori's soft landing circle. I do feel like this is a space that is absolutely needed for aspiring expats and obviously for folks who are away. I listen to you, Marissa, all the time, and I feel like your words offer such healing for folks. And so I kept thinking, you know what? I need to be in a space that is going to continue to just fill me and be in communication with folks who are on this journey or in this journey, because there's a different conversation that we have versus folks who are really not moving in this direction. And so it's just different, is what I'm finding. Even when I talk about it, it's different for people. And so I appreciate you all being here. And let me just say hello to their two sisters in the chat. There's actually a few people here, but I see. Hello, Dr. Crystal. Hello. Yes. And then, thank you. Wonderful. Great to see you all. And thank you for other folks who are coming in. Thank you. Feel free to drop your thoughts and questions in the chat as we have this conversation. So, I guess what I wanted to start off thinking about is just, what do you all think some of the biggest emotional shifts people begin to experience when they're either moving to a new country or planning to move? And how might they mentally transition and get their mind right for that transition? What would you say? What's coming up?
So I think one of the things that comes up for me is grief.
Mm,
So a lot of the times we're leaving environments that have been deeply harmful to us, whether that's been a job, the country as a whole,
yeah.
given the history and the different things that we've experienced. So when we finally make it to a place where we feel safe, there may be like this overwhelming feeling of grief that we may be
Mm,
unprepared for because we
mm,
may not have had space to really sit with it, process it. We may have been in survival mode for a very long time. And so even being able to access how you feel
mm,
can be new in a new environment. So it's like complex, right?
mm,
These
mm,
complex
Mhm.
emotions that may pop up, like the joy of
mm,
being in this new environment with all these new things to do, all these new scenes, people to meet, as well as sometimes like discomfort.
yeah.
For those of us who may experience like social
Mm,
anxiety or unlearning perfectionism, which is huge when you're traveling or moving abroad, all
yes.
these things can pop up at the exact same time. So just really being prepared for that, right?
Mm,
That it's not just going to be one thing. It's not going to be only joy, right? Being prepared for the things to pop up and having a plan for that. And realizing that what you may be leaving behind may be a toxic environment, right? An
mm,
environment where you experienced oppression. And so, like, giving yourself room and space to be able to process that and having, I think, like a team in place, like a support team
mm,
for when these things pop up so that you're not unprepared when they do.
yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I think I think the word grief is something that I hadn't thought about. Um and it's one that I am trying to make more sense of, because there is this loss that's happening in the sense that there's this leaving, there's this detachment, there's this comfort that you have and or know, and then you're moving to this other place, which for me feels like it's going to be just a much more exciting or interesting space to be at the moment. Um, and so there is this, I don't know what the word is, but there's this excitement about this newness, and then there's this, oh my gosh, I, I know this thing and I can hold on to this thing, but that's not going to be the same. So anyway,
Yeah,
I'm not being
absolutely.
clear, I don't think, but the feelings are complex, I guess is the best way. And Tori,
Sure.
we
I think you guys absolutely hit the nail on the head. And I think the experience of grief in the country that we've been socialized in
yes,
is is doesn't do it service, right? I think we've
Mm.
been socialized to ignore grief.
Yes.
And grief is a part of every single transition we've ever
Mm,
experienced throughout
mm,
our entire lives,
mhm,
right? And so this is a major transition. It's a full identity shift.
mm.
And with any transition, there will be grief. Now, if we've been socialized to move through transitions and suck it up, right?
Right.
This is just life. This is just what, we know how it is when we've been growing up,
Yeah.
moving through a transition
Yeah.
and been told by some adult, what are you upset about?
Right.
It's just this, it's just
Right.
that, right? And so that self gaslighting will need to be unlearned. Grief
Mm,
is part of the process. That's
mm,
okay. It needs to be, right? And so expecting it, giving yourself permission to be in that is really
mm.
important, I think.
And can I say too, like, it doesn't mean
Please.
that you're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
there can be a perception, like, when
Yeah.
you do have these emotions pop up, when you're making this huge, which is an
Mm-hmm.
exciting transition abroad, all these joyful things, that
Mm.
when the emotions pop up, I'm doing this transition wrong. Like,
Right.
no, like preparing yourself for
Right.
these things to pop up. And I love that we're talking about this because I
Yeah.
think it needs to be talked about more. Hmm.
Yes. We definitely need to talk about it, um, and unpack it. And I will say, Marissa, you hit it on the head. For a few weeks, I think I was doing more planning in my head than I actually was moving in my body. And so I had done this. I did a video about offering myself grace because, everyone's like, well, how's it going? And how's the packing? And I was like, I haven't started. And I haven't started not because I know it's coming, but I just feel like I'm managing it in a slow pace and I'm thinking about it and I'm doing some other processing, but that there's no one way, right? The way that I organize myself to get together versus someone else, there's not a way to do it. And so I really appreciate you saying that there's not, you're doing it wrong or you need to be
Mm-hmm.
hurrying up or you need to be on top of this. It's like, no, I need to talk about it and I need to move a little bit slower right now because that's all I can do. I will
Mm-hmm.
be ready when it's time to when it's time to go. But I really was having that moment of, dang, I haven't done a thing. I've done a lot in my head, but I haven't done a thing. I haven't really been
Sure.
moving. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna say hello to a few much. Hi, Annette. You made a live. This is a person who needs to do more work-life balance. So it's good to see you here. I appreciate you. And Dr. Crystal says, it's still really hard for me to embrace ease. I'm grieving, and unconsciously, I keep catching myself taking on new drama.
Mm.
Yes, that is something that we constantly do. I don't, we figure out a way to take on more stuff even when we're supposed to be resting. Yeah.
Yeah, the familiar is comforting, you know?
Oh, please, Dr. Crystal, we are all slow learners on this, and that is why we are talking about it and being in community with each other. Um, at the end of the month, we're going to have a conversation about sabbatical life and what does it mean to be on sabbatical and really utilize that sabbatical. So I think this will lead into some of that conversation.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
What would you all say intentionality around prioritizing mental health looks like in those first either few months or in the first few weeks when you are in a new space or planning on being in a new space? Any ideas of what that might look like or could look like for people?
I'll say slowing down. So
Mm,
for me, I know the transition, ooh, it was kind of rough. It was kind of
mm,
rough because, and one of the reasons why I was pushing myself to be at the same level of productivity, even though I despise that word, um,
mm,
abroad with
right,
all these new things happening as I was in the States. And I was also experiencing a major loss too. And so not allowing myself space to grieve that as well as what I had left behind, right? Because a lot of times we're grieving all the things that we should have received
right,
in
right,
this, like
Mm-hmm.
where we were born,
right,
right? The country
right.
that that's supposed to be providing these things for us. And we're having to make
Mm-hmm.
this huge life transition
Mm,
to seek a better life for us and our families.
Right.
And so there's a level of grief. So you really need to move slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Hmm.
it was important for me to realize that I wasn't on vacation, which
Mm.
can be right important, an important distinction. So you're not going on vacation. It's not like 2 weeks where you have to do all these activities
Yes.
with your itinerary.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
preparing for a long term right
Right.
transition abroad, and so recognizing that, building in moments to rest,
Mm.
maybe just do one activity on one day, see how you feel the next day, see how you're like in the new climate, right, around new people,
Right.
giving yourself time to adjust, not feeling like you have to do squeeze all of the activities in one day, 1 week. There's time, right, to
Right.
do these things. And also remembering healing doesn't happen overnight, it's a process. And so we're healing from many different things as we make this transition. And so, again, being prepared for that and having a support team is so
Right.
important.
Hmm.
Support team. I'm just gonna
Absolutely.
make a note. It's important.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with all of that. There might be that temptation, right, to be constantly exploring in this new environment. So, like Marissa said, I think space is so important, giving yourself time. And really, what that is you're stepping back from some of those old coping mechanisms that you've had to use. You're stepping back from that and
Mm.
just giving yourself some space, right? So, um, journaling, I'm a big fan of journaling, right? Having some space to just collect your thoughts or reflect on what you've been feeling and thinking as you're in this new space. The connection is so important, reaching out to people before you hit a breaking point,
Mm.
right? And just giving yourself permission to let it be, just let it be what it is, right? And staying in connection with someone who gets it, I think is important because then they can reflect back to you if they see something that is concerning. And
Right.
I stress someone who gets it.
Yeah.
Right. Family back home, you can stay connected with them as it feels aligned for you, but connecting with someone who gets it so that you can verbally process or have that
Yeah.
mirror back of, sis, I noticed this thing,
Right. Right. Right.
you know.
Yeah. That's really important. I love the fact that building in rest and slowing down is key. It's not the nature of most women of color. We stay
Mhm.
busy. I even in some of my onboarding work, when I sit in the meetings and I listen to folks, I have this Western way of like, okay, so we're gonna get this done next week. Like I'm or like when is this?
Sure.
There's a lot of talking, and I'm like, so when is all this happening? Because we're just talking about it, but no timeline, no follow up email, no. Okay, we'll see you next week, and it's like, okay, that whole experience is like, okay, sit with that. They're not in a hurry. I said to my husband, I sent an email on Thursday. I didn't get a response till Tuesday. I was like, did I send the right email? Did anybody get it? It just went out in the ether.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they weren't.
Yeah.
It was a holiday or something. It was closed. Nobody checked. I was like, okay. They were like, oh yeah, no, we're not. We don't work on the weekends. I was like, oh, okay. Let me just.
Oh, and yeah, here you were
I
like,
sent something on a
yeah.
Thursday thinking it's not weekend, but Friday was a
Right.
holiday. That was weekend enough. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
slow
Yeah.
down, slow down. I am
Right. Yeah.
having
Yeah, and
to.
people are not projects. It makes sense to have a
Ooh,
timeline on a project,
ooh,
right?
people are
And
not projects.
I remember when my children were little. I was schooled in this country. I'm thinking on a timeline. Guess
Right.
what? You get a little person. There's no timeline,
That's the
right? And I had to
truth.
learn people are not projects,
People are
right?
not projects.
Wow.
That's the statement of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the idea of just slowing down and that things are
Mhm.
going to be happening differently and the
Yeah.
timeline that I am aware of that runs in the back is not the timeline. There is no timeline. Like this is a slow and steady is
Mhm.
really important. And I have to keep saying that to myself because it really is not the way I've been conditioned. And I
Right.
am looking forward to slowing down. Like I am looking forward to not having to hustle at the same pace,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even letting go of the terminology of hustle culture, because I've worked at a non-for-profit, and so we're always hustling for the, the
Mm-hmm.
partnership, the funding, the this. So even that mindset, is going to be different for sure.
Yeah.
Going to be
Well,
different.
and also I just want to add this part is when you've made this move abroad, your nervous system is going to be working overtime to kind of
Mm,
integrate all the new experiences.
mm,
And that can be more overwhelming than you might think,
mm.
right? All of your five senses are going to have new stuff to have to integrate.
Right,
And if you are just, moving at the speed of light, it's just overwhelming for a
right,
system, for a human system, right?
right.
And so giving yourself space and time doing nothing is the most productive thing I think you'd be able to do. Know that there is important work going on in the background. Trust that.
The doing nothing is not my MO. That is not
You
at
like to do
all.
all the things.
I, well,
Yeah.
that's why I put not all the things, because I want to not do all the daggone things. That is the problem. Oh, journey to your inner bloom. I love this convo, ladies. I'm sitting in an empty 5-bed, 4-bath house.
Ooh.
I'm currently waiting for my visa to head back to Portugal. Wait, let's go back. Yes, and I am preparing many things to leave, but I am resting in between. Thank you. Thank you for
Mm.
sharing that. That I need all of this. This is absolutely
Yeah.
everything.
Well, and I
Yes.
love her name, the inner
Yes.
bloom.
Yes, inner
Blooming takes
bloom.
time and
Yes.
patience. Yeah.
That is beautiful. Yes. And then there's a amen from Q Styles. People are not projects. Exactly. And Crystal is yes, people are not projects. That is so true. People are not projects. Wow. I know that you started with Tori talking a little bit about journaling. I do journal. I journal in my digital, like on my phone. I use the journal app actually that comes with, um, the iPad, well, the Apple iPad, and I think that is helpful. Are there any other habits or rituals that you all think would be helpful for, folks to begin to lean into to help them protect their mental health and wellness while living abroad or planning to live abroad? Any other, routines or rituals?
I would say grounding practices can be helpful. So breathing is one that comes to mind. It's probably the most accessible one. So when you feel yourself kind of being triggered, and I think, as you mentioned, Dr. Davia, like having that level of self awareness and self reflection,
Yeah.
right? That I'm used to being on this timeline. And so it's making me feel uncomfortable that people are moving slower. That's huge, having that self awareness, because then you can start to unpack, well, where did this message come from? Do I
Mm,
still want to continue this? What new way is being modeled to me that I can learn from and maybe like change my behavior in one that allows me to move at a slower pace?
yes.
That's huge. So, any like self reflection exercises, as Tori mentioned, right? The journaling can be huge. Voice noting, if you're
Mm,
not someone who likes to write, just anything that allows you to really connect with yourself, how
mm-hmm.
you're feeling without judgment.
Right.
That's huge. um, Connecting to your body. So even like movement practices, dancing, incorporating joy, right? So seeing new sights, taking yourself on solo dates, creative play, anything that sparks that kind of like inner child within us,
Mm,
making this move abroad a joyful one, even though there is stress with it, inviting in joy. And yeah, breath work, daily movement. Maybe if you had a ritual in place or routine where you were, knowing that you can still continue that when you move abroad. So if you took
Mhm.
walks every morning
right.
for your mental health, you can still do that and build that into your plan when you're planning your move abroad too.
I love that.
Mhm.
Continue the rituals that you had before so that you can keep
Mhm.
that stability that you are used to having. Right.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah. To that, I would add, even So again, we're going back to the five senses. That's the core of what a grounding practice is. It
Mm-hmm.
connects to your senses. So even lighting a candle every night or every morning, right? Making a coffee, um, and even noticing as you're making the coffee, right? Not just hurrying up to make the coffee and
Right.
then gulping
Right.
it down, right? You can turn that into a ritual for yourself.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
know, it's again, it's that slowing down piece, right? That you're doing in the walking, you're
Right.
doing that in the journaling. You can
Mm-hmm.
do that with almost anything,
Right.
right? Taking your meal and not being in front of a screen.
Yes.
That you can use that as a ritual,
Right.
right? Sitting with the food, actually tasting it, chewing it, putting your fork or spoon down between bites. I mean, that could be something for someone.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and having a ritual, maybe even if you feel yourself kind of starting to spiral, if that's happened for you before and you know certain things that work, then having a reset ritual, right? I know I'm just really getting uncomfortable. I know I need to go outside. Maybe I need to put my feet in some grass somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to say something kind to myself, right? Some mantras or some affirmations. Any of these things could be a ritual. What are your rituals that you have now,
Right.
right? Take them with you and see how they feel in this new place. It may not be all the rituals. I was just coaching someone on this yesterday. We were talking about the ritual or routine is not meant to be your master. It's meant to serve you.
Right.
So if it's a busy time, well, then pick one of the things to do,
Right.
right? You may not have an hour to journal and walk and meditate and all those kinds of things.
Right. Right.
Well,
Right.
you can do one. You can do one of those. You know, what's
Absolutely.
your anchor? What makes you feel anchored?
Yeah. What makes you feel anchored? And Journey to Your Inner Bloom said meditation has been her go-to. I don't know why I said her. Could be. Doesn't have to be. Um, Mindfulness and setting reasonable intentions with grace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Setting reasonable intentions. Say that again. And that balance is key. Balance is key. Yes, absolutely. And Dr. Crystal says that that's so simple. Lighting a candle. I used to love that at my home in the US. Absolutely. I love the sensory. I love incense. I love candles. I love all of
Mm.
those smells. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I love some really good music and also some
Okay,
really good
good.
wine.
Yes.
That my
Yes.
ritual, all of my
Sure.
things. And yes,
Sure.
it is true that it is easy to forget what rituals work for us when we are in that mode of being a little bit like not in control. And so having
Mm-hmm.
to step back. And I think that really speaks to what we started with at the top is that it's the slowing down and the breathing that will help to ground us. And then we can take a step back and go, listen, I used to walk, let me get out and walk. I used to do
Mm-hmm.
this thing, let me do this thing. So just leaning into that, I think will be important for sure.
Sure, sure.
For
And,
sure.
you know, I think that's also why forming your own community, being plugged in, or being in a community like Marissa's or like mine is important too. If doing these things is new for you, and then you're going to make this big move and think all of a sudden you're going to start doing all of this stuff, that may not be as realistic. But
Right,
if you're supported in a community who's focused on that,
right.
right, that can help you to integrate it and it become a practice, right? And become a habit for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think? Um, how do you think people should respond, or what signs do you think they might have to have an awareness around when they're noticing that their mental health is suffering while they're abroad, or what steps do they need to take to notice like, oh, I'm starting to not be in alignment with myself? Anything
Mm.
people notice that could be helpful?
You know, the first thing that comes up for me is that kind of feeling disconnected from yourself.
Mm,
And knowing what that's like for you, maybe it's like a numbness, or kind of flat, like no emotion,
mm,
or not really noticing things. That, I think, for me, that comes up as like one of the very first. Marissa, I've heard you talk about this a lot, Marissa.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Kind of feeling like dissociated
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
from our bodies. And that may be a
Mm-hmm.
trauma response. It may be a
Mm,
trauma
Mm-hmm.
response that we had back in the States or wherever we're moving from
right.
in these toxic environments. And so realizing that your nervous system might be going back into that same state that it's
Mm,
familiar
mm,
Mm-hmm.
with.
mm,
Um, and so other things that may pop out, so irritability,
mm.
Mm-hmm.
fatigue,
Yeah.
over isolating, right? Self isolating, maybe having a lack of appetite or experiencing insomnia or feeling, again, disconnected from your joy. So these may be signs to look out for.
Mm,
Also, like self doubt and self criticism. Again, those of us who are recovering perfectionists,
mm,
especially when moving abroad, there are so many things outside of your control. And so a response may be to criticize what you're doing, which may lead to like a spiral of shame. And so recognizing, giving yourself all the grace, all the compassion because you're
mm,
doing something so huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moving abroad is not easy.
right.
Um, so I think being connected with communities like Tories is so important, right?
Yeah.
Other people who are on this journey of moving abroad, to reflect back to yourself that nothing is wrong with you if you're experiencing any of these
Right.
things. Reaching out when you notice these things, like having that self reflection practice
Mm-hmm.
of checking in,
Yeah.
and then not waiting until you're in crisis mode
Mm-hmm.
to ask for help is
Yes.
so
Yeah.
important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
waiting.
I like to say we're too grown to wait for crisis before asking for help. We're too, we're done with that, right? We're done with that. But I realize that that's really hard for people. Another thing is if you're having sleep issues, which I think a certain amount of sleep disturbance is going to be very typical, especially depending on what time zone you're changing
Right.
to.
Right.
Right? I have trouble sleeping in any new place, no
Right.
matter how bougie it is or what the time zone is.
Right.
It's not my normals.
Right.
But having that reflection to say, you know what, I haven't been sleeping well for weeks,
Right.
right? Noticing that. Or if you're having maybe more serious things come up, like panic or heart palpitations,
Mm, mm,
feeling hopeless.
mhm.
Marissa touched on this. Those that inner voice, right? That
Yeah.
inner critic. If that inner critic is just really loud or really constant, I would encourage people to definitely reach out to someone that they trust and just share what's going on, and go from there. If you're not talking to yourself like you would a best friend,
Mhm.
well, then call a friend
Yes. Yeah.
and hear that
Yes.
affirmation and validation from someone else.
Yeah. That's really important to say again, that the inner voice that can be so powerful has to be nurturing and loving and caring to itself, because it's all it's all new, but it's all like
Mm-hmm.
inside. And so if you can't be caring to you and that voice is starting to say things, you absolutely need to, you have to reach out. And I hear you both saying in many ways, stay connected, keep your community close, ask for the help that you need. And even when you're not sure, just talk it out.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're talking it out with yourself, like, girl, what's going on with you? Let's get
Mm-hmm.
this thing
Mm-hmm.
together.
Yes.
Let's like shake it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. The plant plan. What a nice name. That's my body's go to first move. Disassociation, then irritability. Reacting in
Mm.
frustration, even before noticing I'm upset. Yes. Thank you for sharing
Mm.
that. That
Yeah.
is,
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about the irritability a little more.
yeah, that's powerful to
Yeah.
notice that about yourself, and be able to name that and go, oh, wait, this is something that's going on for me. Because I do think there are
Mm-hmm.
times when in all of the things that we're doing and transitioning, you may not realize that you are being a certain way, or that once you've landed in your new space, that you might be feeling anxious and irritable and frustrated.
Mhm.
But a lot of times in a new space, things are just going to move differently. I was trying to get some information from my new job about um, how I was going to be not paid, but how I was going to get refunded for some funds. And I swear I could not really get the quite answer that I was looking for. And then I was like,
Yeah.
why am I looking for an answer? They just going to tell me what they're going to tell me. Like, I have to be patient. And I was getting frustrated. And I was like, you know what? It's all new. This process is new. Stop expecting it to be a certain way. And so once I
Mm-hmm.
like relaxed and was like, all right, let's try this a different way. And so having an awareness that I'm pushing up against a system that I don't know and that I have to be more culturally responsive to, and understand that it's not moving and I'm not going to move it. I just have to be with it. And so
Mm.
like
Mhm.
checking that for myself and saying, oh, you just got to sit with this, Davia. It's not, this is what it is. So I appreciate you all saying to reconnect and to reach out to folks in their circle. Yeah, it's really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. Things are different. Things, I hear that so much, right? Things move more slowly in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
countries, and we bring our Western bias with us
Oh,
as much as
yes.
we want to be
Right.
leaving it behind. You can't help
Yes.
but bring some of that with you. And I love what you said, Dr. Davia, about just the expectations, right? Just letting those go and being with the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Every step of the way is about a being so that I can understand and receive and become whatever else is there for me. Right. And so
Mm-hmm.
realizing that we're all in a process. They're also in a process of receiving me in the same way that I'm in a process of going, right? I am new to them, my spirit, my way of being, my whole Black American self, my whole over 50 self, all of it is showing up, my whole all of it. And so just just trying to keep in mind that I have to be patient with myself and with the process, and be in a community that is supportive of me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's really important. I wanted to ask you all what role you think staying connected to family and friends back home play in maintaining your emotional health, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the family and friends. So I get
Ooh, ooh,
this is
that
where
part. That part. Without even
yes.
saying it, I know exactly. Oh, yes.
I think this is where self-reflection again really comes into play.
Yeah.
So if you had strained relationships with people back home, maybe if they weren't really on board with you moving abroad, because
Mm,
I've heard that a lot,
yeah.
right? There can be pressures to stay in place, people projecting their fear
Right.
onto what you're doing. And so having like a radical acceptance in that sense of the fact that people may not be on board with what you're doing. And so trying to look to them for affirmation, for comfort, to try to move you through. Maybe if you're experiencing a difficult moment, that may not be the person to go to for that, right? And that's why community, especially people who have done this, who have traveled, moved abroad,
Right.
who understand the challenges that pop up, can really be
Mm-hmm.
your source of connection and
Mm,
understanding.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, maintaining relationships back home with people who get it, who understand, who are
Mm.
there to support you, I think is really important. I know that I have made trips back home,
Right.
right, during this journey. So also like building that in. If you know that you'll need to probably see your family and friends after a certain amount of time, and this is not going to be like a permanent
Right.
move,
Right.
building that into your plan, I think, is important too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's important.
For sure. Yeah, I co-sign on all of that. Knowing when you are contacting family, knowing what your goal, your purpose is,
Mm.
right? Knowing
Mm.
that, okay, if I call this person, if I connect with this family member back home, am I going to have to perform happiness for them?
Mm.
Am I going to have to
Mm.
act like everything's okay?
Mm.
Well, if that's the case, then I would say maybe don't make that call at that time. Come to me or Marissa to work through some of that if you want to maintain that connection, you know. But if you're going to have to perform for that
Mm.
person, just consider that, right? Be aware of that.
Yeah.
You may still choose to do it, but know how that might impact you and how you will handle that.
Yeah.
You know I can't let my mom know when everything is crumbling around me. I can't do that. I can't
Right.
let her know that.
Right.
But can I hold myself the way I need to while I talk to her? Sure,
Right.
I can do that.
Right. Right.
Everyone's in a
Absolutely.
different path with that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really thoughtful way to think about when you call, how are you showing up in that conversation,
Mhm.
and how will they receive it or not receive it,
Mhm.
right? So really being
Mhm.
intentional about who I'm having this conversation with
Mhm.
and what their expectation is within the conversation. And that's a powerful thought. I want to put up here glass half full, a perfectionist in recovery. Wow, this really hits home. This is hard work. Appreciate having your voices with me. Yes,
Mm.
let that perfection work through that. I know it's not easy. That is a
Sure.
hard one. And journey to your inner bloom. It depends on the status of the relationship with family and friends. I do not share too much with my family
Mhm.
because we're not built that same, but I respect their opinions. Yes.
Mhm.
Um, it's theirs to have. Yes. It's a hard one. It is a hard one. And not everyone is going to get it. And sometimes you just can't have the conversation with everybody, or you can't have all conversations with everybody, about
Sure.
everything,
Sure. Yeah,
So,
they're on a different journey than we're on, and is
yes.
it fair for me to expect them to really get it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. May be fair, may not. It's not helpful for me
Right.
to expect
Right.
them to get it.
Right. Yeah. Not always helpful. But again, I do hear you all saying, think about who you are connecting to, make sure you stay connected, think about how long term your move is, and if you're going to be
Mhm.
coming back, what that looks like. Um, yeah, that's really, I think it's all really important to say out loud. Sometimes this seems so simple, and this is not simple work at all,
It's not.
at all.
Yeah.
Do you all have
Yeah.
any mental health resources or apps or support groups like yours that people um, should know about or think about or recommend for folks navigating? So I'd love to even add yours in to the
Mm.
to the conversation.
Um, so I'll say YouTube has been one of the best support tools for me. Just even being in live chats
Yeah.
and hearing other Black
Mhm.
women share their stories, Black women who have moved abroad and made this journey. Sometimes it can feel lonely and
Yeah.
isolating, right? And so
Yeah.
to hear people share that transparently out loud, it makes you feel less alone,
Mm,
right?
Mm.
And reflects back to you, nothing is wrong with you because this person is experiencing this too. So YouTube has been such a huge community tool
right.
for so many of us on this journey of moving abroad. I'll say like Insight Timer can be a helpful app if you are someone who enjoys meditation. I also do meditations on YouTube. I'll also put on affirmations playlist and just have those in the background as I'm working. So support groups can be helpful as well. There are many different like WhatsApp groups that I've come across.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook groups can be
Mhm.
important. I have a community, Black women freelancers.
Okay.
So if freelancing is part of your journey of moving abroad, building a business, I do offer support. Right, so it's really a support community for us as entrepreneurs because even like making the transition both into entrepreneurship and abroad at the same
Yep.
time was difficult.
Ooh.
And so I wanted to create a safe place for us to share like the ups and downs of that journey. And other things can be like grounding techniques, as we went over, breath work, um, journaling, right? Exploring maybe childhood trauma, right?
Mm.
Inner child work on your own
Wow.
timeline. Because a lot of these things may pop up without us even realizing it when we're in a new environment and we're able to feel safe. And so these memories may come back. And so
Mm.
even like being prepared for that can be helpful. And then
Wow.
also
Mhm.
like digital detox days, I think can be helpful, especially again if you're working remotely, which I do. So I'm on my laptop all the time on my phone. So having the space to cut off electronics for a certain time can be helpful for your mental health as well.
Mm.
Wow, that's a powerful one.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I recently became aware of a new. Let me look it up. A new app. There's a website and there's an app called Black Girls Breathing. Have you guys heard of that?
Oh, I have.
Um,
Black girls breathing.
Jasmine Marie. Yeah, it's there's an app and it has a community component, and I think she leads
Oh,
breath work and meditation exercises in her community.
okay.
So through the app, so that's another one that I've recently found when I was preparing for this. I think is a really
Hmm.
good one. Um, I love using the apps for these types of things, and I always recommend, having your own simple structure or routine around it, like every day, 8 a.m. Sometimes they have a little feature where you can set a notification to
Yes.
remind you to meditate every day at a
Yes.
certain time. That's helpful,
Yes.
especially if you're starting this habit new. I personally love Insight Timer. Um, I
Inside.
have
Are you saying
meditations
timer?
also.
Inside timer?
Insight,
Oh, insight.
Insight,
Yeah.
Timer.
Sight.
Yeah, Insight Timer.
Let me get that.
I also have meditations on my YouTube channel. Black Girls Breathing, Insight Timer, Headspace.
Mm,
There's some sleep
yeah.
meditations that can be helpful. We were talking about sleep
Yeah.
earlier,
Yeah.
so those different apps. I have a list of like 30 mental health apps that I hand out to clients. If anyone wants a copy of that, just email me,
Nice.
um,
That's
and I
great.
can send that out.
That's
Yeah.
great.
The
That's
Calm app
the
is
comment.
pretty well known.
Yes. Yeah.
There's some ones that are mindset related, like kind of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy focused. If you're familiar with that and know that that's useful for you.
Right.
There's some relationship apps if you're a couple that's moving abroad.
Yeah.
That could be helpful.
Yeah,
Well, we haven't even
absolutely.
opened that box.
Listen, not at all. That is definitely another conversation for another time. Oh my goodness. Well, these are no, these are all really helpful. I use my little Peloton app. I don't know if y'all see it in the back. I'm gonna miss her. I can't take her with me.
Oh,
But I will take my app with me. And so I do use the meditation app at night. Right before we got on, I did a little 5 minute meditation just for
oh,
calming.
good.
I There's a lot in that app. You can walk, you can do a lot, even if you don't actually have the bike.
Hmm.
So I really appreciate that. So I will
That's cool.
keep that as a part of my routine. And I do think some of these other pieces are important. And being connected to you all and folks like you, I definitely want to get I want to make sure I put in the show notes each of your, I think I put all of your, like how to contact you, but as far as the breath work and the soft landing, I want to make sure I get that also. So, you
Yeah, I can make
know,
sure to send you any links that you need that I mentioned.
yeah, that would be great. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm following all of you amazing ladies, but I cannot find Sister Torie Prophet. Can you share her YouTube page, please? Yes, Torie.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
need
mean,
that.
what's the YouTube URL? It's
Uh huh.
youtube.com/prophet mother.
Prophet Mother. I could.
I mean, probably.
You think it's at? Do you think it's the at Prophet Mother?
What is that the
Mhm.
format? Probably,
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
that is the format. I couldn't find it, which is why I went with the other
Yeah,
page.
it's at prophet. youtube.com @At Prophet Mother.
Okay. Okay. I hope that helps. For sure. I would just ask you all, so as we close up, how do you think expats can begin to build supportive community when they don't yet know anyone in the space? Marissa, how did you do it?
Mm.
How does that happen? When you land. I mean, I know what I've been doing in the back end. I'll tell you what I've been doing, and then you tell me. The first thing I've been doing is reaching out to like Blacks in Thailand, Adventures While Black. I've kind of been. Those are like communities to be connected to. But so I've done that, and I've kind of emailed folks. I've done some DMing, which is like new to me. Getting in someone's DM and be like, "Hi, I'm moving. I'd love to reach out." I'm like, I hope they're like, "What is this creepy lady?" Hopefully they don't see me that way. But I've done that, and I've actually gotten really positive feedback. Like folks are like, "Oh, hell, okay, here's my WhatsApp." So I've gotten that. I'm a little bit of a, I don't know what you call when you're on Facebook, but you're not really on Facebook. Maybe I'm trolling. Like I don't have no friends. It's not one. I have a lot of people who have invited me, but I'm like, no, no. I only got that Facebook page because of Stephanie Perry's class that I had to get a Facebook account to get in, and then I tried to delete it and can't get out of it. So I kind of like look at the different groups, and I'll respond to something, or I'll send a little note or a comment on something. So that is what I've been doing. That's all I got. I don't know if there's anything else to do. Oh, thank you, Plant Plant. I'm a lurker. Yes, I am an absolute lurker. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm clicking around. I don't even. I follow Time Out Bangkok. I follow like 3 things, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all.
That's
Mhm.
good.
Well,
I love that.
Yeah,
Marissa, what
I
what have
think
you done?
that's what I did too. So looking at, I think that's the answer. Yeah,
That's so
Facebook
funny.
groups,
Okay.
WhatsApp groups, and knowing that you can make connections before you actually land,
Mm-hmm.
which may make your transition much easier. It's not something that you have to wait until you're there, right? You can start
Mm-hmm.
reaching out to people, building relationships before. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Did I lose her?
oh,
Oh, like there you go.
I think, okay. Sorry, yes. But knowing that you can build relationships before you actually get to the place that you're going, to make your transition there
Mm,
much easier. You can reach out to people who are open to sharing resources,
right.
things like I was in like a realtor group or like
Yeah.
an apartment group
Yeah.
before I got to Guadalajara. So I was able to like find a realtor, someone who could help me find an apartment
Right.
before I landed. So that was crossed off my list. Building connections beforehand. And I think like once you're here, it's just slowly, right, entering spaces that you enjoy. So this can be
Yeah.
like wellness classes, yoga
Mm,
classes, going
Mm-hmm.
out to cafes and meeting people like that, making connections just like you would where you're from,
right.
right? So I think understanding that it's not necessarily new in that aspect, it's something that you've done before and telling yourself that. Um, what may be new is something like a language barrier
Yeah.
and knowing that you can move through that, right? With
Right.
the translate apps have been essential for me as I'm learning Spanish still. And this can also be a process over time. You don't have to be perfect, right? You don't have to
Right.
be fluent
Right.
before you land. Giving yourself that grace to learn a language naturally, I think, is helpful too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's really important. Give
Yeah.
yourself grace for sure. Let me
Well, and
see.
also commenting on YouTube videos. Marissa mentioned that
Yeah.
as a great resource too.
Yes.
People are so nice when you comment on their videos,
Yes.
right? And building those relationships that way too.
Yes, I have done
Yes.
quite a bit of
Mhm.
that. I have done that. I've reached out in that way, and I've been learning a lot. I feel a little bit like a YouTube junkie. I'm definitely, I watch a show and I watch
Same.
another show, and then I'm like,
Me too.
that is my new TV, so to speak. I have absolutely turned the TV off. I'm done with it. I am done with that. nonsense that they're feeding. And so I do appreciate people's real knowledge, their real lived experiences, their real um, everyday lives. And I gain a lot of information that way. And I have been in folks' comments and saying, oh, this was helpful. And I've been
Mm-hmm.
getting a lot of information that way. So that's really helpful. And
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to share these last little comments. Tracy said, I learned a lot from this discussion. Thank you all so much.
Yay.
Thank you, Tracy. And Journey said, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
that. I really appreciate everyone who's been here. And before we go, I just want to ask if there's any one thing that you would like to leave people with around protecting their health and their mental health and wellness, either as they are aspiring expats or if they are expats. Anything you want to leave folks with?
Mm. My biggest thing is just to have a connection with someone.
Mm,
You know, even if it's not a full on huge community, have a connection with someone and be intentional about that to nurture that. And I think the rest can kind of flow from there.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's really
That's a
helpful.
really good point. I would say embrace flexibility, right?
Mm,
In
mm-hmm.
every decision that you make moving
Yeah.
abroad, and notice where the rigidity is popping up because
Mm,
many of us come from a very rigid,
mm,
structured, as you said, Dr. Davia, like very timely
mm-hmm.
society when things where we're used to things being like this.
Yes.
Um, but giving yourself flexibility and being open
Yeah.
to new
Mm-hmm.
experiences,
Yeah.
and knowing that things may not always go to plan and you can still move through that discomfort,
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
think is helpful.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is super helpful. I really, there's nothing else to be said. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. Yes, the idea of being open and being
Yeah.
flexible and having
Yeah.
a intentional connection is really going to be important, not only for me, but
Yeah.
anyone who's aspiring, anyone who's thinking about making these moves.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like fear and like, oh my God, girl, how could you like move all the way across the country? And I'm like, listen,
Mm-hmm.
this ain't nothing happening here. I don't know if you noticed what is going on here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do what you
But
will.
I think the people that are orienting themselves towards this have that desire for flexibility,
Yes,
for openness, for
absolutely.
curiosity, for
Absolutely.
connection. Right? So
Absolutely.
those are the little seeds inside that you're starting to nurture. And like Marissa said, there can be some discomfort there,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's new. So thank you so much for having this
Oh,
conversation.
thank you so much for being here. Um, I don't know what y'all have in your hands, but I need y'all to lift a little water or whatever. Yes, I just want to say cheers to you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Cheers. Oh, man. And please remember everyone to stop. This is not do all the things, right? Let's stop trying to do all the things. Yes, thank you, Glass Half Full. Thank you all. Yes, thank you, Dr. Crystal. Excelente. Appreciate you. I'll learn how to say that in Thai, and I'll get back to you with that. I'm looking forward to my few little words and my few little statements. But again, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you all. And cheers, be well. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night.